Hello, my name's Chris Lewington and I'm the course leader for the MSc in Applied Cybersecurity at the University of Suffolk. In this short video, I'd like to give you a brief overview of the course, and hopefully that will interest you enough to come along to our Q&A session where I'll try and answer any detailed questions that you might have. So in terms of a little bit of general background then, this is a postgraduate course. It's 1 year full-time or 2 years part-time, currently with a September entry. An important point to note is that this is a conversion course, which means that it's open to people without a computer science qualification. If you do have a computer science qualification, I would direct you to have a look at our MSc in Advanced Computing instead. So a feature of this course is that we will give you a gradual, gentle introduction to the terminology and concepts surrounding not just cybersecurity, but also computing. So we don't assume any knowledge on your part before you come and study with us. You will study 6 modules, but the 7th module is devoted to a dissertation, enabling you to explore a topic of your particular choice and examine interests that you may have had or built up whilst you've studied with us. As part of this course, you will have access to our state-of-the-art Digitech Centre based at Adastral Park in Suffolk, where there are many companies such as BT that use that park for their day-to-day business and gives you the opportunity to network potentially with individuals from those organisations. So just to tell you a little bit more then about Adastral Park and particularly about Digitech Centre, we established the Digitech Centre at Adastral Park in 2021, particularly to focus more detailed experimental activities and research, as well as study in data science, artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. As I mentioned just now, the Adastral Park site is actually a hub of technology with many high-tech communications and technology companies on site. In terms of getting to Adastral Park, we do have some transport organised. We have a shuttle bus that will take you to and from the university's campus and to Digitech, and there are also regular Ipswich bus routes which will take you there as well. 3 other facilities to mention as well. At the Digitech Centre, we have a smart house, which is a purpose-built environment for people to be able to carry out research and do projects on a house that has actually been developed with state-of-the-art technology and tools. So you may be able to try out your projects on those ideas, developing things related, for example, to the Internet of Things. We have, of course, a dedicated cybersecurity suite, which is completely isolated from the network, and it enables you to explore things like penetration testing and malware analysis and forensics without any fear of doing any damage anywhere else. And we also have a state-of-the-art AI server if you are interested in exploring opportunities to do with artificial intelligence. So what about the course itself? On this slide, you will see the selection of module titles that you will study. Just very briefly on each of these. The first module that you will study is called Foundations of Computing. As I mentioned earlier on, we don't assume any prior knowledge. So we will give you a gentle introduction to the aspects of computing that you will need in order to be able to study the more advanced topics of cybersecurity later on in the course. The second module that you'll study is Fundamentals of Cybersecurity. So similarly to the first module, this will give you a gentle introduction to the terminology and concepts that are used all the time in cybersecurity. You will study these 2 modules first. So once you have completed those modules, you will be in a very good position at that point to get into the more detailed aspects of cybersecurity. In strategic and information security, we look at how security is really focused and anchored by the strategy and objectives and purpose of an organization, often a business, but the point is that security needs a purpose. Why are we trying to protect things? And particularly, what things are we trying to protect? And why are they important? By taking this approach, we focus our attentions on security in the context in which it's being used. In other words, it's not just about technology. We teach you to understand the place in which security fits in an organization. Going on further down into the technical side of things, we will start to look at things like network security, where you'll look at security protocols, cryptography, virtual private networks, low firewall technology, and more kind of low-level aspects to cybersecurity that many people think of when you talk about cybersecurity. Related to that as well is forensics and malware. So it's really, really important for you to have an understanding of how you can take, for example, a computer and use particular tools and techniques to investigate a potential either security breach or a other kind of criminal activity where you're trying to gather evidence for something, whether that's an infection by a piece of malware or whether it's part of perhaps a law enforcement investigation trying to gather evidence to support a prosecution in a crime. The other final study module that you'll cover is social engineering, something called OSINT, and penetration testing. You'll cover all of these things together because they're all intimately related. Penetration testing is really about pushing the boundaries of an organization's security footprint. And it's something that is a very common activity to engage in for organizations to test out their security. Social engineering is really about the human element of cybersecurity. Often, the attacks that malicious actors will launch are initiated with social engineering. We've all come across scam emails and phishing attempts trying to persuade us to react under stress and do something we wouldn't normally do. That's what social engineering is about. And OSINT stands for Open Source Intelligence. It's about gathering information that is publicly available. That helps you to engage in a wider penetration testing exercise, and these are all techniques that malicious actors will use. That's the key thing about cybersecurity, is that the tools and techniques that you use are the same whether you are a malicious actor or whether you're a defender. The difference is only in your intention. Obviously, we teach you to be an ethically and legally responsible security expert, but you still need to learn the same techniques. Your final module that you will engage in during your studies is obviously your dissertation. So as I said, this is to build upon all of the things that you've studied, gives you that opportunity to explore something that you might be particularly interested in and to really get into it and involved in it and learn it at a much deeper level. You obviously need research skills to engage in a dissertation type of study, and we teach those to you as you progress through your earlier taught modules. On this slide, you see an example of what it would be, an example of doing part-time study, for example, over 2 years. Essentially, you will study 3 modules, perhaps in the first year, but again, notice that you have the 2 foundation and fundamental modules first. You must complete those before you get into the more detailed modules later on in the course. And again, Another example here of perhaps the second year if you were doing part-time study, which is when you would look at things like social engineering, forensics, and malware and network security tools and techniques once you've gained that initial particular focus. So if you want to find out more, you can go to our website where the details are there on the screen for you. And as I said at the beginning of this video, if you'd like to come along and find out specifics about the course, then by all means do join us for our Q&A session at a later date. Thank you for your attention. I hope that this gave you a good overview of the course and that we hope to see you in September.